Resident Evil 2, the sequel to the game that changed the landscape of the survival horror genre, and being a sequel to such a game is never easy, especially with a company like Capcom that have the bad habit of re-releasing the same thing over and over again, so Resident Evil 2 didn't look as promising as it should. But with a completely new cast of characters, completely new setup, and improved game mechanics, it blew our minds back in the day, introducing a new way of looking at the survival horror genre as a whole, a way that really set it apart from the original. Let's see how it did it. This is Resident Evil 2, years later. This game puts a lot of effort shaking up the things established in the original. Of course, the game still takes a lot of elements from it. The fixed camera angles are pretty much the same, the tank controls are back, a little smoother, a little faster, the way we aim and shoot is the same. The main difference this time is the tone. It's still horror, but it's a different way to manage the horror. There's a section that perfectly encapsulates what I mean. The first encounter with the lickers come kind of out of nowhere. We just found a decapitated body on the floor next to a pool of blood, then a cutscene plays and we get a good look at the creature in all its disgusting glory. We get to see its eyes, or the lack of eyes, we get to see its teeth, its tongue, its body, its claw right there with no build-up. Normally there will be some sort of build-up, you know, flickering lights, creepy noises, out of dead bodies without showing you the monsters, letting our imagination doing the job. These scary things are the things we cannot see, you know, what could it be, what could be lurking in the darkness, and then it shows us the monster. That is the classic way of doing horror, setting the ambience, setting the tone, being subtle, but that's not Resident Evil 2 ways. Resident Evil 2 is not subtle, it goes BAM! Here, monster, deal with it. And that's not necessarily something bad. There's nothing wrong trying to cash in the uncanny and shocking value of the creatures. And being honest, they are some really creepy looking motherfuckers in this game, so yeah, it works. It gives you that sensation of, I don't know what that thing is, but I don't want it close to me. And I call that horror, right? I can call it horror, right? It's a different take to what we're used to, the cycle of tension and release. This is more straightforward, but still crazy effective. All this joined with the gameplay elements that are just like the original with little improvements. We have more inventory space, so we don't need to go back to the item box every 5 minutes. And puzzles are a little too simplistic for my taste. If I can call those puzzles, of course. It's more like take this thing there to get another thing, and then take that another thing to somewhere else to get yet another thing. It's less a puzzle and more figuring out what thing goes where. The level design is a little more linear. Instead of having a big place to explore, everything is separated in smaller sections. We start in the streets, then we move into the police stations, then the sewers, then the underground, the lab. Every environment is different with smooth transition between each other. The visual design is actually very great. Everything looks the part. Enemy design is very inventive. It is still inconsistent as hell, but they just said, no, these are not zombies, these are mutants. So if you see a thing with 3 faces and claws instead of hands, it's completely justified. And as I said, that allowed the designers to create some really weird creatures. Sadly, the game still has a fetish for giant animals though. Overall, the game looks great. It feels like a modern game that looks old school on purpose, like Minecraft, a game that used the latest technology to look like it was made 20 years ago. Except some animations, those look like crap, but the rest looks great. The story is, let's say, functional. It's still basic as hell. The game managed to add some small details that makes it feel unique, even if it's still the same zombie story we're seeing 1,000 times before, with characters we've seen 1,000 times before. Except for Leon, I really liked Leon, and that's because the actor who voiced him made a great job. It's not Metal Gear Solid levels of good, but you can see the guy went the extra mile in this job, and that works in favor of the character. And that ending, it had heart, it had feeling, at least Leo's storyline. Claire's is, serviceable? It's not bad, but it didn't grab me as Leon. By the end, it's a satisfying experience. My only complaint is that the game fails to create the sensation of isolation I was hoping. You know, I'm alone against a lot. I mean, I was alone against all odds, but it didn't feel like it. And the police station section felt a little too long, a lot of unnecessary backtracking. As I said, too much, grab this thing, take it there, and then grab that thing, take it somewhere else. If you remove that from the game, I think it could flow a little faster, being a little more engaging, but no game is perfect. This is an improvement over the original in every aspect, even if it's essentially a different approach to the same genre. It's not the greatest game of all times, but even by today's standard, it's surprisingly well made. This is somehow original experience in a saturated genre, and that is something worth experiencing because Resident Evil 2 definitely worth the play. Next time on Video Games Year Later, we'll have Resident Evil 3. Wait a second, how many Resident Evil games are we planning to do? What? But there are too many of them! I don't want to be doing those till the end of the year! Well, whatever, Resident Evil 3. If there's a game you'd like me to talk about, leave it in the comments. If you like what you see, please subscribe, give it a like, leave a comment, and share all the love we have here on the Tribial Game Show. Thanks for watching, don't be a stranger, and see you next time.